I am trembling. Not figuratively. I'm actually shaking so badly I can barely hold my phone steady. 30 feet away, a boy who looks about 12 is calling my wife Mom. The part that steals my breath is that she answers him, her voice soft. She pulls the boy into a hug, fixing the collar of his shirt, and the man standing next to them. That son of a bitch is just smiling, watching the whole scene unfold. I'm standing in the shadows of the mall entrance, watching the woman I love kiss that man on the cheek, then take his arm as they laugh about something and walk into the movie theater. I was supposed to be surprising her, coming home early from a business trip. Some surprise. This isn't a surprise. It's a horror show. Sir, are you okay? A passing security guard is looking at me with concern. I only then realize I'm drenched in a cold sweat, leaning against the wall like all the strength has been sucked out of me. I'm fine. I managed to force a smile, stumbling toward the elevator. 6 years of marriage. 6 entire years. Isabella, how long have you been lying to me? That boy, 12 years old. What does that mean? My mind is a chaotic mess, a dozen different possibilities swirling in the fog. The worst one makes me want to collapse right here on the polished floor. I pull out my phone, scrolling to a picture of her. She's smiling that gentle smile I fell in love with. For 6 years, she was my entire world. When my company took off, I bought her the big house, funded her own design studio, supported every dream she had. She always said I spoiled her. Now I have to wonder, was she feeling guilty when she said that? Or was she mocking me? My thumb hovers over the contacts list, stopping on a number for a private investigator. A friend gave it to me a while back, said the guy helped him catch his girlfriend cheating. I laughed at him then, called him paranoid. I guess the joke's on me. Hello, I need your services. My voice is a raw, unrecognizable rasp. Of course, sir. What can we investigate for you? The voice on the other end is professional, detached. I need to know everything about my wife. Specifically, I take a deep breath. Her relationship with another man, and a boy about 12 years old. After hanging up, I slump into the driver's seat of my car and light a cigarette. The nicotine does little to calm the storm inside me. Now that I've seen it, I have to know everything. I have to see it all. I open my phone again, pulling up Isabella's Instagram. She rarely posts, mostly just clean, aesthetic shots of her design work. There's no mention of that man, and certainly not the boy. The deliberate omission is more terrifying than anything else. I scroll through her texts. For the last 6 months, she's been telling me the studio is swamped, that she's working late nights. I trusted her. I never once questioned it. Looking back, all the little signs are screaming at me. The frequent business trips, the sudden, expensive shift in her wardrobe, the subtle changes in the way she spoke to me. How the hell did I miss all of this? I remember our FaceTime call last night. She said she was at the studio, pulling an all-nighter on a design proposal. But the background, it was a coffee shop. I even praised her for working so hard. Hard at work. More like hard at cheating. I stub out the cigarette and start the car. The movie is 2 hours. That gives me plenty of time to get home and wait. And while I wait, I'm going to tear our house apart. The thought alone makes me realize how much I've already changed. I've always despised violating someone's privacy, but now, to hell with privacy. The house is, as always, immaculate. She has a touch of OCD. Everything is perfectly organized. I head straight for the walk-in closet in our master bedroom. Her clothes are arranged by season and color, each handbag stored in a dust bag. But I know her. The most important things would be hidden away, somewhere inconspicuous. Sure enough, in the back of her deepest drawer, I find a small, elegant jewelry box. It's not one I ever gave her. My hand starts shaking again. I open it. Inside is a men's bracelet and a small stack of photos. In the pictures, that man has his arm around her waist. They're on a beach, smiling, incandescently happy. On the back, a date is written, last summer. Last summer, she told me she was going to an international design expo. She was with him, on some tropical getaway with her lover. The world tilts, and I grip the dresser to keep from falling. I keep digging. Tucked inside her passport holder, I find a bank card I don't recognize and a single key on a fob. The fob has the name of a condo building I've never heard of. So, this is their little love nest. I take a picture of the address with my phone and put everything back exactly as I found it. On the surface, everything will remain normal. But underneath, I go to uncover every single one of their dirty secrets. Back in the living room, I collapse onto the sofa, my eyes fixed on our wedding photo. She's in a white dress, her smile radiant. I remember her promising to build the most perfect home with me. Now that home feels like a giant, elaborate lie. I open the liquor cabinet and pull out the expensive whiskey, a gift from her on our last anniversary. I pour a glass, and suddenly, a bitter laugh escapes my lips. For all I know, he paid for this. My phone buzzes. It's a text from the P.I. Investigation has begun. The man's name is Julian Vance, CEO of a tech firm. The boy is his son. I throw back the whiskey, the burn searing a path from my throat to my stomach. Julian Vance. I'm going to burn that name into my memory. The front door clicks open. She's home. I quickly compose myself, pretending to scroll through my phone. Honey, you're back. Her voice is still so gentle, so loving. Why didn't you tell me you were coming home early? I look up, seeing the flush on her cheek from the movie from him. I have the sudden, violent urge to wrap my hand around her throat. But I hold it back. Wanted to surprise you, I say, forcing a smile. How was your day? Oh, the studio has a huge new project. I was swamped all day. She sits down next to me, her movements fluid and natural. I can smell the faint, lingering scent of a man's cologne on her. She's a damn good actress. Has she been acting for all these years? Have you been drinking? She frowns. Missed you. Had a couple of drinks. She smiles, playfully pinching my cheek. You and your sweet talk. I fight back a wave of nausea, letting her be affectionate. Oh, by the way, she says casually, I have to go out of town tomorrow for 3 days. A cold laugh echoes in my mind. Oh yeah, where to? Chicago. For a design conference. Right? A design conference. Go to hell. The private investigator was fast. 3 days later, a detailed report landed in my inbox. Julian Vance, 34, founder and CEO of a well-known fintech startup. Driven, ambitious, a notorious womanizer. Divorced 3 years ago, with sole custody of his son, Leo. He met Isabella last year through a design contract for his new office. And after that, my fingers unconsciously crumpled the edge of the printed report. There were photos, them dining intimately at high-end restaurants. Emerging from a private club, his arm wrapped tightly around her. Kissing at the entrance to a luxury condo building. The most damning picture was taken at night. She was holding Leo's hand, the three of them walking together, laughing like a perfect family. So she wasn't working late. She was playing mother to another man's son. I leaned back in my chair, feeling the blood burn in my veins. 6 years. An entire 6 years of my life. I gave her my best years, my deepest trust. And this is what I got in return. The sickest joke of all is that I was still the one funding her success. Her design studio was on the top floor of my company's building. And Julian's condo, it was 2 blocks from her studio. A bitter laugh escaped my lips as I replayed the last year in my head. Every time she said she was pulling an all-nighter at the studio, she was with them. Every time she claimed to be at a design expo, she was on a trip with Julian. Every time she said she wanted to try a new style, it was to please him. I shot up from my chair and slammed my fist into the wall. Crack. Blood seeped from my knuckles. But the physical pain was nothing compared to the agony in my chest. I picked up my phone, staring at her smiling face on my home screen, and suddenly tears streamed down my face. Why would you do this to me? What did I ever do to deserve this? Didn't I love you enough? No, I loved you too much. My complete and total faith in you was the weapon you used against me. I wiped my eyes and started scrolling through the photos in the report again, one by one. Each image was a knife twisting in my heart. But I had to look. I had to sear this pain, this humiliation, into my memory. It was the only way to stay focused. I'm going to make them pay. I'm going to make them regret they were ever born. Just then, my phone vibrated. A text from her. Hey, honey, I'm going to be a late one at the studio tonight. Don't wait up for me. XO. Late one. I glanced at the clock. 3:00 p.m. I wondered what romantic dinner Julian had planned for tonight. I wondered how many times Leo would call her mom. Forcing myself into a state of chilling calm, I replied, Okay, take care of yourself. I put the phone down, opened my laptop, and started Googling Julian Vance. If this was going to be war, I needed to know my enemy. Information flooded the screen. The guy was impressive, no doubt. Built a major tech company from the ground up in his early 30s. But his real fame came from the gossip columns. Handsome, wealthy CEO, a regular in the city's most exclusive circles, with a trail of broken hearts behind him. This is the man who stole my wife. I dug deeper into his company. On the surface, the numbers looked good, but a closer look revealed serious problems. The biggest one, a tight cash flow. They were in the middle of a new round of fundraising. 4. Interesting. I picked up my phone and dialed a number. Mark, do me a favor. Look into Julian Vance's company. That's right, the fundraising. I need to know who his potential investors are. After hanging up, I called my lawyer and told him to start drafting the paperwork. If they want to play games, we'll play for keeps. I'm going to leave Julian Vance with nothing, and I'm going to make Isabella know what it feels like to be thrown away. At 8 p.m., I got another text from her. Project crisis. Looks like I'll have to pull an all-nighter for real. Go to bed without me. I smiled coldly and replied, "You're the best, honey. Work hard, but don't burn out." I put my phone down, got in my car, and drove to his condo building. Her car was right there in the underground garage. I made a note of the parking spot number and waited across the street. At 1 a.m., she and Julian walked into the lobby, laughing and holding hands. I watched from the darkness as they kissed deeply. My fists clenched so hard my knuckles turned white. But not yet. The time isn't right. Just wait. I will make those two bastards pay for every second of this. When I got home, she still wasn't back. I opened our closet and stared at her perfectly arranged clothes. How many of these outfits were bought for him? How many of these perfumes were worn for him? A wave of disgust washed over me. I ran to the bathroom and dry heaved over the toilet. When I was done, I looked at my reflection in the mirror. My eyes were bloodshot, my face pale and drawn. I let a cheater reduce me to this. I wiped my mouth and let out a humorless laugh. You want a game? I'll give you a goddamn war. She came home at 3:00 a.m. I pretended to be fast asleep. She moved quietly, showering and then slipping into bed beside me. "Ethan, I'm so sorry," she whispered into the darkness. I almost laughed out loud. "Sorry? You're sorry now? You're sorry for 6 years of lies. You're sorry for breaking our vows. You're sorry for every moment I ever loved you." The next morning, I went to work as if nothing had happened. As I passed her studio, I saw her inside, looking focused and professional. Such a dedicated, loving wife. I sneered and walked away. Around noon, Mark called. Vance is looking for a series of funding round, valuing the company at $300 million. A few big VCs are very interested. Give me a dinner with them. You're thinking. I'm thinking it's time to play. Got it. I'm on it. I hung up, opened my laptop, and sent an email to my lawyer. The subject line was Divorce Papers. 03. I gave myself 1 week to get everything in order. Surveillance videos, photographs, phone logs, hotel receipts. A thick file folder filled with proof. Every page was a meticulously documented record of their affair. Throughout that week, I acted like the perfect husband. I went to work, came home, we ate dinner together. When she said she had another business trip, I even helped her book the flight. Of course, I knew she was going with Julian to a corporate gala. The P.I. sent me their entire itinerary, including tonight. I checked my watch. 5:00 p.m. She and Julian were probably already in their hotel room. I grabbed the folder and drove to the hotel. At the front desk, I gave him the room number. The clerk checked my ID. "I'm sorry, sir, but this room is—" I cut him off with a cold smile. "I'm her husband." He hesitated for a moment, then handed me a key card. In the elevator, I took a few deep breaths, steadying myself. Ding! Room 1612. Right in front of me. I swiped the key card and pushed the door open. And there they were, on the sofa, tangled together. Thud! The folder hit the floor, scattering papers and photos everywhere. The sound made them jump apart. Ethan. Isabella stared at me, her face a mask of pure terror. Julian, however, was surprisingly calm. He simply straightened his shirt collar. "Mr. Cole, we meet again." That's right, we had met. At some charity gala a while back. He had been charming, even talked about a potential partnership between our companies. What a fucking joke. "Isabella, get you things. We're going home," I said, my voice dangerously low. She scrambled to her feet. Ethan, I can explain. Explain that you've been cheating on me. Or explain that you've been playing stepmom to his kid. Julian stood up. Mr. Cole, let's talk about this calmly. Shut up. My eyes locked on his. You say one more word, and I'll make sure your company is bankrupt by morning. The color drained from his face. Ethan. Isabella rushed toward me, sobbing. I was wrong. I know I was wrong. I stepped away from her touch. You know you were wrong? How long has this been going on? A year? 2? No, just 6 months. She stammered through her tears. 6 months? I barked out another laugh. You put on a show for me for half a year. Playing the devoted wife at home, then running off to be some rich guy's mistress. Enough. I stopped her. Sign this. I pulled the divorce papers from the scattered mass on the floor. No. Her eyes widened in horror as she backed away. Ethan, please forgive me. I swear I know I was wrong. Forgive you? I sneered. Did you think about forgiveness when you were screwing him behind my back? It was a moment of weakness. She cried, mascara running down her cheeks. Ethan, I love you. I really do. You love me. I cut her off. You love me, so you let another man's son call you mom. You love me, so you bring your lover into our home while I'm away on business trips. Her face went white. You knew. Of course I knew. I kicked the photos on the floor, sending them sliding across the marble. Every dinner date, every hotel stay. I know everything. Ethan. She fell to the floor, grabbing my leg. Please, just give me one more chance. I know I messed up. I shove her away with my foot. Sign the papers. No. She shook her head frantically. Ethan, I can't live without you. Should have thought of that sooner, shouldn't you? I scoffed. Now that you're caught, now you can't live without me. The second you see these papers, you're terrified. Julian finally spoke up. Mr. Cole, she's truly sorry. Smack. The sound of my hand connecting with his face echoed in the silent room. Who the hell do you think you are? You don't get to speak her name. He held his cheek, his eyes flashing with anger. Ethan, don't push it. Was I pushing it when you were sleeping with my wife? Was I pushing it when you let your son call her mom? I pulled out my phone. How about I call your investors right now? Send them a few of these pictures? Let them see the kind of man they're about to give millions of dollars to. His composure finally cracked. And what about those creative accounting practices at your company? Should I leak those to the press too? He finally broke. Mr. Cole, give me a break. I smiled a cold, dead thing. A break? Fine. Get out. Right now. And if I ever see your face again, you're finished. He glanced at Isabella, then turned and walked out the door without another word. Julian, Isabella called out instinctively. A fresh wave of pain hit me. What? Can't stand to see your little boyfriend go. No, she said, turning back to me frantically. Ethan, I swear, I'm done with him. I'll never see him again. Too late. I threw the divorce papers at her face. Sigh. Ethan. She was sobbing uncontrollably now, gasping for air. Please, just one more chance. I can't lose you. I looked down at her, my heart a block of ice. Do you really think I could ever trust you again? I can change. Change. I laughed. Can you change the fact that you're a worthless slut? She froze. Sign the papers. Or I'll make sure you're ruined. You want me to post these pictures online? I held up my phone. Let the whole world see what a pathetic whore you are. Her face was ashen. Ethan, you wouldn't. Try me? I hissed. I have nothing left to lose. That finally broke her. Her hand trembled as she picked up the pen. A tear fell onto the signature line. Don't get your filth on the document, I said coldly. Biting her lip so hard it bled, she signed her name. Get out, I said, snatching the papers. As of today, we are done. Ethan, don't call me that, I said, turning my back on her. I feel dirty just hearing my name in your mouth. The first week after the divorce, I barricaded myself in my office. To the outside world, I was buried in work. In reality, I was orchestrating my revenge. She didn't know that. She came to my office building every day, trying to see me, but my assistant, Kevin, always turned her away. Mr. Cole, Ms. Rossi is here again, Kevin said, his voice hesitant. I'm not available, I said without looking up from my screen. She says she'll wait here as long as it takes. Let her. I pulled up the security feed on my monitor and watched her sink to the floor in the hallway. crying. There was a time when the sight of her tears would have broken my heart. Now it just looked like a pathetic amateur performance. My phone buzzed incessantly with texts from her. Ethan, please, just see me for a minute. I know I messed up. I'm so sorry. Let me explain. Please give me a chance. You can't just do this to me. Do this to you. You're the one who made your choice. I silenced my phone and turned back to my computer. On the screen was Julian Vance's corporate financial statement. Very interesting. It seemed he wasn't running a very clean ship. He'd been playing fast and loose with the numbers to make his company look more attractive to investors. His company's finances were a house of cards. All I had to do was pull out the bottom one, and the whole thing would come crashing down. Just then, my desk phone rang. Mr. Cole, Mr. Harrison from Chicago is here to see you. Send him in. David Harrison was the lead investor Julian had been courting. His venture capital firm was prepared to inject $200 million into the company. Mr. Cole, an honor to finally meet you, he said, extending a hand with a broad smile. Mr. Harrison, the pleasure is all mine, I replied, matching his smile. Have a seat. I hear you're quite interested in Julian Vance's company. That's right. The kid's got some impressive tech. Just a little short on capital. Is that so? I slid a folder across the desk. Are you sure you want to make that investment? He picked up the folder, and as he read, the color slowly drained from his face. What is their actual balance sheet? I said calmly. Take a look, Mr. Harrison. Tell me if that's worth $200 million. He finished reading, a thin layer of sweat on his forehead. Mr. Cole, are you saying? I'm not saying anything. I shrugged. I just believe in making informed investment decisions. He immediately understood. Thank you for the heads up, Mr. Cole. I believe I have other plans for that $200 million. Of course, Mr. Harrison. And I gave him a meaningful look. This information stays between us. He nodded eagerly. After seeing Harrison out, I glanced at the time. End of the workday. She was probably still waiting outside. Sure enough, the moment I opened my office door, I saw her standing there, looking miserable. Ethan. I walked right past her, as if she were invisible. Ethan. She ran and grabbed my arm. Why are you doing this? Why won't you even look at me? I shook her off. We're divorced, Isabella. But we were together for 6 years, she cried. How can you be so cruel? I laughed coldly. Who was cruel? Was I cruel when you were betraying me? I was wrong. She sobbed, wiping tears from her face. I know I was wrong. I don't want Julian. I just want you. Is there a point to saying that now? I stared at her. Or is it that Julian got tired of you and threw you out? Her face paled. That's not it. Then why doesn't he want you anymore? I advanced on her, backing her against the wall. Did his son decide he didn't like his new mommy? Or did Julian just decide you were cheap trash, only good for fun time? She covered her face, her shoulders shaking. How did you become like this? You used to love me so much. Oh, I did. I loved you very much. I sneered. And that's why you felt you could destroy me without a second thought. She cried harder. Ethan, give me another chance. I'll do anything. Anything. A slow, cruel smile spread across my face. Then get on your knees. She froze. What? Get on your knees and beg me, I said, looking down at her. You said you'd do anything, didn't you? She bit her lip, fresh tears rolling down her cheeks. Ethan, what's the matter? You can't do it. I scoffed. You had no problem debasing yourself for Julian. Why the sudden attack of principles with me? Her face was white with shock. You've changed. Yes, I have, I said coldly. And I have you to thank for it. I turned and walked away, leaving her to the sound of her own broken sobs as she slid to the floor. There was a time that sound would have shattered me. Now, I just found it pathetic. That evening, Julian Vance called me. Mr. Cole, can we talk? I laughed. What is there to talk about, Julian? The investment. Oh, you mean the fact that Harrison backed out? I said, feigning surprise. That's business for you. The market is so volatile these days. There was a long silence on the other end. I know it was you, Cole. Oh, and what are you going to do about it? We can make a deal, he said. What do you want? I sneered. What do I want? I want you to burn. Mr. Cole. Listen to me, Julian, I said, my voice dropping to an icy whisper. Accept your fate. This is just the beginning. I hung up and opened my laptop. On the screen was his company's entire investor prospectus. Soon, every venture capital firm in the country would know that Julian Vance's company was a sinking ship. His funding would dry up. His company would collapse. Everything he had built, everything he was so proud of, would be reduced to ash. Just then my phone buzzed. It was a video from Isabella. I opened it. Her face was red and swollen from crying. "Ethan, I'm outside our house. Can you let me in?" I glanced out the window. A torrential downpour was starting. She was standing on the sidewalk, already soaked, looking up at my window like a lost puppy. So this is her next move. I closed the video and drew the curtains. Let her stand there. Let her stand there until she's exhausted, until her heart gives out. A month later, Julian Vance's company was in ruins. Every potential investor pulled out. The banks called his loans. The company's cash flow evaporated. He couldn't make payroll. The stock price crashed, wiping out 80% of its market value in a week. I watched it all happen from the sidelines. But it wasn't enough. I wanted him to have nothing. Soon, the scandals started to break. Tax evasion, fraudulent accounting, bribery. It was all true. All I did was deliver the evidence to the right people. The day federal agents led him out of his office in handcuffs, I happened to be driving by. The celebrated tech wunderkind now looked like a common criminal. Reporters swarmed him, shoving microphones in his face. "Mr. Vance, are the allegations of tax evasion true? Mr. Vance, how extensive was the financial fraud at your company? Mr. Vance, is it true you were having an affair with a married woman?" I watched from my car, a slow smile spreading across my face. "This, Julian, is what you get." Isabella found out soon enough. She called me, screaming. "It was you, wasn't it? You did this." I replied calmly, "Of course." You're a monster," she sobbed. "How could you be so cruel?" "I'm cruel," I laughed. "Where was this concern for cruelty when you were stabbing me in the back?" But he has a son." "Oh, are you worried about your little lover? Or the boy who called you mom?" She choked out. "You were never this person." "You're right, I wasn't," I said coldly. "You made me this person." I hung up and looked out the window. It was a beautiful day. A perfect day to completely destroy someone's life. Soon after, Julian Vance was indicted. With the mountain of evidence against him, he was facing more than a decade in prison. I had someone forward the news to Isabella. She came to me, completely unhinged. "Please, I'm begging you, let him go." I sneered. "You care about him that much?" "No." She bit her lip. "I just think, this is too much. Too much." I looked at her, my eyes devoid of any emotion. "Is this more or less too much than what you two did to me?" She fell silent. "Get out," I said, my patience gone. "Stop playing the saint in front of me. You've really changed." She cried. "You're not the Ethan I knew anymore." "That's right," I sneered, "and I have you to thank for it." After she left, I opened my laptop. On the screen was the financial statement for her design studio. It was time to close the net. The next day, her studio received an eviction notice. "Why?" she asked the building manager, her voice trembling. "We have a long-term lease." "I'm sorry. The building was sold," the manager said. "The new owner needs the space." She had no idea that the new owner was me. Or, more accurately, one of my shell corporations. What broke her even more was when her clients started pulling their contracts, one by one. "I'm sorry, Isabella, but your studio has too much negative press right now." "Isabella, I think we're going to go with another design firm." "Isabella, your association with Julian Vance is damaging to our company's image." That's right. I had leaked the entire story of her affair with Julian. The photos, the videos, the hotel receipts. Now, everyone knew she was Julian Vance's mistress. Her career, her reputation were destroyed overnight. That night, she came to find me again, this time at my front door. She was drunk, slurring her words. "Ethan, open the door." I watched her through the peephole as she swayed on my doorstep. "Are you happy now?" She slid down the door, collapsing on the ground. "You've ruined me. You've taken everything. Are you happy now?" I smiled coldly. This is just the beginning. The next day, I had my lawyer sue her for embezzlement of company assets. After all, the studio was registered with my money. Now I was taking it all back. She completely snapped. "You're trying to destroy me, aren't you?" she screamed, storming into my office. "You won't even leave me with a single shred of dignity." I looked up at her. Dignity, do you deserve any? Ethan. She lunged at me, her hand raised to slap me. I caught her wrist. Smack. I slapped her across the face hard. She stared at me in disbelief, tears welling in her eyes. You hit me. Trash deserves to be hit, I said coldly. Now, get out. If I ever see you again, I'll take away what little you have left. She clutched her cheek and stumbled out of my office. I calmly wiped my hand on a handkerchief, as if I had just touched something foul. 3 months later, Julian Vance was sentenced to 12 years in prison. His company was liquidated in bankruptcy proceedings. His ex-wife took their son and moved away. No one would be calling Isabella Mom ever again. And as for her, she was completely and utterly ruined. Her studio was gone, her reputation was destroyed, and she was buried in debt. But it still wasn't enough. I wanted her to suffer. I paid off her remaining friends to abandon her. I put the word out in the design industry. Anyone who hired her would be blacklisted. I had someone follow her, watching as she scurried through the city like a rat, trying to survive. Finally, one day, she came to me, not to beg, but to end things. You win, she said, looking at me with dead eyes. I've lost everything. I sneered. Still haven't given up hope? No, I've given up, she said with a bitter smile. You were right. I'm a worthless person. I betrayed your trust. I betrayed our marriage. I deserve all of this. A little late for regrets. I'm not here for regrets, she said. I'm here to say goodbye. I paused. What do you mean? I'm leaving, she said. I'm leaving this city forever. You'll never have to see me again. Good. It's not like I want to. Ethan. She said my name, her voice quiet. I know you hate me, but I need you to know that once, a long time ago, I really did love you. Get out, I said, my voice flat. Don't bother with the sentimental act. She nodded slowly. Okay, I'm going. I hope you find happiness. As she walked away, there was something broken and desolate about her. For a fleeting moment, I felt a strange pang in my chest, but I quickly crushed it. How can you trust the words of a liar? A week later, I saw a news alert. Julian Vance had committed suicide in prison. The reason given was that his son, Leo, had been diagnosed with leukemia, and his ex-wife had sold everything she had but still couldn't afford the treatments. I laughed coldly. Karma's a bitch. But the next day, another news story broke. Isabella had gone to visit Julian's son in a hospital, and then she had killed the boy with a fruit knife from the gift basket she brought. She stabbed him through the heart. She was arrested at the scene. During her interrogation, she confessed immediately. I ruined that child's life. If it weren't for me, his father wouldn't be in prison, and he would have gotten the treatment he needed. I am guilty. I held the phone, my hand trembling slightly as I read the article. I never thought she would go that far. But then, a chilling calm washed over me. Isn't this what I wanted? For them to be ruined, to suffer a fate worse than death. The article concluded, Isabella Rossi will likely face the death penalty. On the day of her sentencing, I went to the courthouse. She was in a prison jumpsuit, so thin she looked like a skeleton. But her eyes were calm, peaceful almost, as if she had finally been set free. Does the defendant have anything to say? The judge asked. She stood up and looked at the court. I am guilty. This is my punishment. Then her eyes found mine in the gallery. I'm sorry, Ethan. I turned and walked out of the courtroom. From this day forward, we have no connection. This war of revenge, I have won, utterly and completely. My new life starts now.